our special and exclusive interview by Gaurav Sawant with Army Chief General M.M.
Can you hear me?
Over to Gaurav.
General Narvane, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you, but little faint.
Sir, we will just boost that audio coming to you in 30 seconds. We are just about to go on air.
Okay.
A drone strike at the Jammu Air Force Base. Multiple drone sightings in Jammu, a cause for serious concern. Anti-India elements, they appear to be going high-tech. How prepared is India? Joining me on India today is General Manoj Mukund Narvane, Chief of the Army Staff. General, you've been quoting General Julia Duhay, speaking of victory, smiling on those who anticipate changes in the character of war. Is the use of drones in this hybrid war that change in the character of war? Did we anticipate it, General, or are we now trying to adapt?
Well, as you quite rightly mentioned, that the character of warfare has been changing continuously, and the advent of drones and counter-drone systems has radically altered the way we think and how we will be having to fight in the future. With their ease of availability, drones can be easily accessed and can be used by both state and non-state actors. So we will also have to factor this in as we go along and make our plans. But I would like to assure you that we are fully seized of this issue, and we are working towards making sure that we are not found wanting in this regard.
General, are drones in the hands of terrorists the biggest threat our military installations, vital assets, vital points, convoys face in Jammu and Kashmir? Will we, in your appreciation, have to spend billions in defensive measures, or are we in a position to impose costs on the adversary to in a way, deter them?
Gaurav, can you repeat the question? You're coming little distorted. I can't hear you very properly.
General, are we in a position to prevent a drone strike like the one at Jammu Air Base? Does artificial intelligence have a role to play in staying a step ahead of terrorists when either terrorists or their handlers, they may be using just very basic commercially available drones to mount a terror strike?
I'm sorry, the sound is not coming through. I couldn't hear at all what you were asking.
General, we will attempt this once again. Sir, we are talking about terrorists using drones like they did at the Jammu Air Base. What's the best way to prevent a terror attack? Can we prevent the next terror strike, sir?
Can you just check?
Gaurav, we are not able to hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
The sound is getting distorted. I'm not being able to make out the question.
General, can you hear me now? We will just take a moment and try and reestablish. We are trying to reestablish that link. Sir, like the terror attack, if you can hear me, General, if you can hear me, like the terror attack that took place at the Jammu Air Base, can we prevent the next terror strike?
I can just little infer, as I said, that drones will be increasingly used in all sorts of combat in the future, both by state and non-state actors. And we will have to factor this in all our future planning that we do. And as I mentioned in my address, we are catering for both the offensive and use of drones, as also focusing on the defensive measures or the counter-drone systems or measures that we need to adopt to prevent any attacks on our critical facilities by drones and their use whether by state or non-state actors.
General, are we Atmanirbhar when it comes to artificial intelligence and network-centric warfare? Does dependence on foreign technology and foreign equipment pose a threat of being compromised in future combat?
No, I think what the pandemic has very clearly shown is that we need to be self-reliant in all fields, whether it is defense equipment or technologies. We need to be able to develop our own systems which are uniquely adapted to our conditions. And towards that end, I think we have done a lot of progress and hard work. And as I mentioned, we have established a center of excellence at the MCTE at MAU and a dedicated AI lab. So we are working on our own systems. Our country has great strength in the field of IT and software. And so we will be able to be totally self-reliant in this respect, and through that not fear any kind of intervention or interference from outside.
Okay. Sir, will the US drawdown in Afghanistan, are we looking at a spike in tensions along the line of control or in the hinterland in coming months? And in your appreciation, terrorists using drones, does this mark a shift in tactics being used against India?
Well, over the past few months, in fact, ever since the ceasefire understanding between the DGMOs in February this year, the situation in J&K has seen a marked improvement, especially as far as terrorism is concerned. There has been little or no infiltration from across the LC, and the number of incidents, terror-related incidents in the valley have also seen a considerable decline. Of course, the odd incident of firing at some security force picket here and there, or the gunning down of some person in his village, these kind of incidents do continue, but overall, the sharp drop in all these parameters of violence have very clearly indicated that the Awam, the general population in Kashmir, is all for peace and development. And I think that going ahead, this is where we need to focus and make sure that we create the conditions which are conducive to peace and development.
Okay. With Taliban, both Taliban and Pakistan state-sponsored terror, do they pose a huge challenge in Kashmir in the times to come, especially as the process of delimitation or resumption of political activity gets underway and gathers steam in Jammu and Kashmir, General?
I think it is slightly early or premature to be able to comment on that. The drawdown in Afghanistan is still underway. So I think on that front, we will have to wait and watch to see how it unfolds and what impact it has on us and in Kashmir particularly.
Okay. And Taliban and Pakistan, Pakistan state-sponsored terror. So you're saying there's a drop in terror. There is a drop in ceasefire violations that DGMO peace is holding. But then are drones then the new tactics that terrorists are adopting? Because here there is political activity and delimitation process that gets underway, General.
No, I'm sure that there would be some inimical elements and some elements who would not like peace to prevail in the valley. But what is very clear and what emerges is that post the ceasefire, all the parameters of violence have dropped. So there was definitely a linkage between the support that the terrorists got from across the border and the levels of violence in the Kashmir Valley. So that linkage is very well established, and consequent to the ceasefire, since there is a ceasefire, there's no longer any infiltration. Since there is no infiltration, the number of terrorists in the valley are lesser. Since the number of terrorists are lesser, the number of terrorist-related incidents are also seen a drop. So this is a very clear chain which is established of cause and effect. So, but as I mentioned earlier, there will always be elements who will try to sabotage the process of peace and development, but we will have to cater for that. And we, I think, have a very strong counter-terrorist and counter-infiltration grid in J&K, and our operations to that end to ensure peace and tranquility will continue.
General, we have a very strong counter-terrorism grid in Jammu and Kashmir, but is this nature of warfare changing in terms of, so yes, as you've explained, we have multi-tiered grid in Jammu and Kashmir. They may be able to stop terrorists. How will they stop drones? How do we counter the threat of unmanned aerial vehicles in the hands of either state, non-state, or state-supported non-state elements in this hybrid or grey zone warfare?
Well, the easy ability of drones, and in fact, you can even make it at home as a do-it-yourself project, definitely increases the complexity and the challenges that we have to deal with. We are seized of this problem, and we have put in place certain measures. I would not like to elaborate too much on all of them for obvious reasons. But all our troops on ground have been sensitized to this evolving threat, and we are developing capabilities to deal with that, whether by state-sponsored or by states themselves. We are developing the capabilities to deal with them, with this drone threat, both in the kinetic and in the non-kinetic realm. So I think this is a continuous battle. Over the centuries, this has always been the case. Capability is developed, another capability is developed to counter it. Then another capability goes further up. So this seesaw battles between drones and counter-drone technologies will continue. And this is how the character will keep changing, and we will have to keep adapting to this if we have to succeed.
Sir, but will our response be defensive, or will our attitude be defensive, or has a new template been set at Balakot when certain preemptive actions were taken? Is that the best way to deter whatever the adversary or whoever the adversary is and impose costs and ensure that terror isn't a low-cost option to bleed us?
No, I would not like to say it as a defensive or anything like that. We have to see each situation as it develops and prepare our responses accordingly.
General, if I may shift to the situation along the line of actual control, what's the current situation at the LAC, and especially at the friction points, and in your appreciation, sir, the road ahead?
Well, the situation on the LAC has been normal for quite some time now, ever since the disengagement took place again, which had happened in February this year, from the northern and southern banks of the Pengang Tso, as well as the Kailash ranges. And since then, both sides have strictly adhered in letter and spirit to the disengagement that was agreed upon. We are engaging with the Chinese at various levels, at the political level, at the diplomatic level, and of course at the military level. At the and in the military level also at different levels, whether it be the senior highest military commander down to the delegation leader. So this talk between us is going on, and this has helped build trust between the two sides. And going ahead, we are sure that we will be able to resolve all the remaining issues.
Sir, you were speaking about big tech, Atmanirbhar Bharat, big data, artificial intelligence, all of this pieced together. What is the principal threat that we face? Is it hybrid warfare, grey zone warfare, counter-terror operations, or adversaries at borders, or a combination of both, all?
I think what you said in the end is what is most probable. We are now into the realm of multi-dimensional operations, or MDO, and across the whole spectrum of conflict. It is no longer that it will be only sub-conventional or conventional. Whenever there is a conflict in the future, it will be across the entire range that you just mentioned, and we will have to be ready to respond to each of these as it emerges, and not just be focusing on any one set of threats or capabilities. And that is going to be the future of warfare. It is going to be more abstract. It is going to be more volatile, uncertain, ambiguous. And that is where the challenge lies in preparing ourselves for the war of the future.
And when you war game this war of the future, where are we in this hybrid warfare or grey zone warfare that we face? Because the impression was we are on top of the situation, and suddenly drones seem to appear on the Jammu airbase, and then there is a drone strike and there are drone sightings. How do we respond, and how does artificial intelligence or big data and big tech and tech come in and play a role there, sir?
I think, we are still in the nascent stages as far as artificial intelligence is concerned, but we do war game various situations, even some which might seem improbable or implausible at that particular time, but which may manifest in the future. And we do war game these kind of situations so that we are not taken by surprise should such a black swan type of event occur. So this is what we are constantly concerned with, that to prepare for the war of the future and not be taken by surprise in case of a eventuality such as this.
General Naravane, for joining me here on India Today, many thanks.
Thank you, Gaurav.
A quick break. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.